Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today's May 14th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. We got British Columbia, we got Washington, Oregon here. We got the ridge of high pressure. It's going to bump our temperatures up a little bit here as we go through today and tomorrow, but we're going to have another system rolling down here on the day Thursday and Friday. It's going to tighten up this pressure gradient. It's going to bring a strong onshore flow here, and it's going to drop our temperatures back down as we go through this weekend with a potential for some more troughing as we go through next week as well. We're going to dive into some of those details here as we go through the video this morning. Taking a look at the visible satellite imagery, you can see we got some low clouds that is burning off a bit out there. You can see it bumping up against the Cascades and down the coastal areas. Some high clouds moving over the region as well. And there's a thunderstorm that I got some portions of Montana and Idaho today, but no threat right now across British Columbia, Washington, or Oregon as far as thunderstorms are concerned. Taking a look at that thunderstorm threat, there could be a marginal risk for a severe wind gust out there for extreme southeast Idaho, maybe extreme northeast Utah and some of Wyoming here, and some of that thunderstorm threat across other portions of Idaho and Montana does exist today. Should be pushing off to the east by tomorrow. Now, taking a look at the European last night's run here, the 06Z versus yesterday's 06Z. So a 24-hour difference in these model runs. Let's put this into motion, and you can see the ridge kind of hanging on a bit here. But you see this relaxes quite a bit quicker here on this last night's run, as you can see. This troughing is definitely much closer to the Pacific Northwest. There's shortwave ripping through the area here. A very weak polar lobe kind of swinging. It's going to kick on the onshore flow and really drop our temperatures down as we go on in towards the end of the week and the weekend. And then you see next week's system is also trending stronger as well. That would definitely keep things below average here across the Pacific Northwest, maybe even a chance of some thunderstorms and maybe even some higher elevation snowfall out of this, even though this system will be a little bit moisture starved. We'll be watching that closely here over the next few days. Let's see what the GFS has to show for that as well. Last night's run versus yesterday morning's run. Put this into motion. You can see the ridge trying to warm us up a little bit here, but it doesn't last long because we got this next system, GFS, trending stronger with it as well. And as we go on in through next week, and kind of see that next system swinging through here, and then a trough setting up right over the Pacific Northwest. So definitely could be looking at a bit of an extended period of some below average conditions here across Pacific Northwest. Great for the mossbacks. You're going to love this coming up as we go on in through next week. And severe weather chasers out across the plains might benefit from this trough as well. Might be headed out for a storm trip, some storm chasing trip here towards the end of May. Looking at Seattle Tacoma International Airport, look at the GFS warms us up through Wednesday. We start to drop things back down though. And look at this, some only mid 50s showing up here as we go through Sunday and Monday coming up. That is below average for this time of year, exceptionally so. And then who knows what's going to happen out in Fantasyland. But right now we're starting to gain some confidence in this troughing over the next few days through the weekend into early next week. Now looking at the European, I'm going to put this into motion just to kind of show you that the system for Washington and Oregon, excuse me, is a bit moisture starved, but you can see that it does bring some snow for the higher terrain of British Columbia, Alberta, Rockies here. So hopefully that could be beneficial for some of the fires already ongoing this time of year. But you can see it does bring some precipitation across western Washington, maybe a bit of snowfall for the higher terrain, the North Cascades there as well as I'm scrolling back and forth. And we'll see what that next trough has in store with us. We'll watch that over the next few days here as well as we get some better model agreement. But taking a look at a wider view of things here, there's Alaska, there's Pacific Ocean, there's BC, Washington, and Oregon to the right there. There's Southeast Alaska. So there's the ridge, trying to keep our temperatures a bit warm here today and tomorrow before the next system. You're going to see it swinging down here. It's nothing of the strength of what we get in the winter time here, but it's a very weak polar lobe that makes a swing at us here as we go towards the end of the week. And it's definitely going to cool us down here as that ridge shrinks down and retreats back across some of the Pacific Ocean. Now taking a look at Portland yesterday, 74 degrees, still 5 degrees above average, nowhere near that record high of 93 set back on this day last year and on May 15th last year as well, 92 degrees. Actually, that was for Actually, let me back up here again. So yesterday, the 13th, was 93, and today, the 14th here, was 92. So the record high for 15th is 93, set back in 2006. So we did have a 1, 2, 3 day run of 90-degree weather this time last year. You probably remember that. Now, taking a look at SeaTac, we had 63 degrees on the 13th there yesterday. That's 3 degrees below average here. Nowhere near the record high set on this date last year of 86. And on this date last year, we had 89 degrees, if you remember that. Pretty warm day there. Now, taking a look at the National Blend of models. So This is Seattle, 71. You can see some mid-70s here for western Oregon, maybe a 70-degree reading across southwest BC, maybe some 80s east of the Cascades. And as we go through tomorrow, probably the warmest day here as we go, maybe an 80-degree rating there for Willamette Valley, mid-70s here. So get out there and enjoy that, because we could be looking at a prolonged period of some below-average temperatures. And as we go on in through the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you can get to see these temperatures definitely drop back down for where we will be today and tomorrow. So let's take a look at total precipitation and inches in the National Blended Model. So what I want to point out here is we're not looking at an extremely wet signal here for places like Seattle and Portland. Next trough could bring a little bit better moisture chances as we go on in towards next week, though. So we'll watch that one closely, but you see the mountains are definitely going to be doing better. Places across the Rockies, this would definitely be beneficial, in British Columbia there also. And maybe a little bit of snowfall for the higher terrain of the Cascades here over the next several days. And if we take a look at total snow, this is in centimeters. We're looking at Western Canada. There's British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, and Alberta. If I put this into motion, you can see that we do bring some snowfall here to the Rocky Mountains, the higher terrain of British Columbia, and a little bit tries to sneak down into Washington here over the next 200 plus hours here. But again, that could be beneficial snowfall there, but not looking at widespread big snowfall amounts across the Washington Cascades. Here's the GFS. We're kind of trending back a little bit here. Better precipitation anomalies here for British Columbia, some of Washington, Oregon below average showing up in the 2-week time period here. And the European continues to show a little bit drier here across western Washington and southwest BC. Again, this is the 15-day precipitation anomaly. And if we look at the drought monitor here, you know, we got some moderate drought out there across portions of western Washington, some of the Cascades here as well, a bit worse across Idaho and Montana. And we can also look at Canada as well. And you can see there are some extreme and exceptional droughts going on out there across some of British Columbia and Alberta. And some of the fires are ongoing as we speak. So hopefully these systems here as we go through May can bring some relief from these extreme and exceptional drought conditions. And you can see widespread severe and a lot of moderate drought just accompanying both provinces here as well. So anyway, cross your fingers for that, because a lot of this fire smoke can make its way back down into Spokane, southwest BC, Seattle, Portland, all across the Pacific Northwest. If you get a big ridge and a heat dome setting up across the region, you can really draw that smoke back down into the areas here. And a lot of places across the Northern Plains especially have been dealing with that smoke ongoing already. So anyway, get out there and enjoy that weather today and tomorrow. Pretty nice days coming up here, but we do have a big onshore flow rolling in here as we go through Thursday, Friday, and potential more troughing as we go on into next week. We'll continue to watch that. We'll check for thunderstorm chances with that activity as well, see if we have any chance of bringing some higher elevation snowfall, because some of those troughs as we go through next week look a bit chilly. So anyway, yep, I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. Click like and subscribe. We'll do this again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.